Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of The Warren Hayes Show. I am Mr. Warren Hayes, and I am sincerely thrilled to see you. Well, figuratively speaking, of course, because I can't really see you. But I'm still glad you're here. Thank you very much for pressing play on this video and taking a look at it. Hopefully you'll enjoy it. We'll have a good time. Today we are talking about Monday Night Raw. We're going to be going over the show that occurred on July 23rd, 2018. It was quite the spectacle. But before we get into it, just a few notes. I always like to start off with a few notes. I've started documenting my exploits, my legendary exploits in God of War, the PS4 video game. I think it was last week that I bore some fantastic news saying that I had killed my very first Valkyrie. Anyone who's played the game knows how much of a difficult battle fighting a Valkyrie represents. So I am pleased here today to tell you, you're going to see it on screen just right now, I have destroyed my second Valkyrie. Woo! Woo! Of course, you know what that means. That means that it cements my position more and more as the greatest God of War player in the world. Right? I mean, there's no two ways about this one. This is the truth. As I keep going on, as I keep barreling forward in this mythical world, I'm just owning the Valkyries. Just owning them. See, this is me slapping them in the face. That's how I beat them now. Slaps. I call it the Kratos slap. So I'm really happy that this is happening. And I don't know if you noticed as well on the picture that I showed, Kratos is all decked up in this wonderful Muspelheim armor. And that's one of the legendary armor sets in the game. Something that I have collected and crafted out of much toil. It's important to take a moment and appreciate my my level of skill, and it's okay to feel intimidated by it. I mean, I understand not everyone can be on my level, so it's important that you let these feelings of inadequacy surround you, envelop you, penetrate you as I continue on my quest to become the unquestionable, undisputed greatest player of God of War in the world. Well, there you go. And also, in the meantime, when I'm not playing, when I'm not owning everything in God of War, I do contents on the YouTubes. In case you didn't know, you can find me on YouTube at tinyurl.com, Mr. Warren Hayes. That's the URL that I'm using for the YouTube channel right now. So you can go ahead there if you're not on the YouTube channel watching this. You can, do the like and subscribe and notification bell thing if you want. That'd be great. I mean, you can also dislike. I mean, if you don't like it, I'm okay with that. Or am I? So today is Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Yes. So I just realized there's a mistake here on the board. Today is Tuesday, July 24. So on Wednesday, tomorrow, this is both Wednesday, my next productions, my next contents are going to be my SmackDown Live review. That's going to be posted tomorrow. And also Wednesday evening on FightfulSelect.com, which is the subscription service of Fightful.com. I will be doing my 205 combination. 205 Live NXT post-show review. That's always fun. And if you are a, that's exclusive for FightfulSelect.com members. And if you're a member, you can watch it anytime, but you can also come in live and join me live. Come chat it up with me immediately after NXT. I'll be right there. On Thursday, I'm going to have another G1 weekly recap. That's going on Thursday, again, on FightfulSelect.com. And I've also started trying my hand at creating some short-form content using my reviews here to create little videos, which I call Warren's Thoughts, which I take a subject, something that I talk about in one of my videos, one of my talking points, one of my reviews. I take one of the talking points of my reviews and I condense it into a bite-size video. And they seem to be doing pretty well. I did one regarding Sasha and Bailey, and I did another one regarding talking about how I don't want Samoa Joe to be AJ Styles' opponent at SummerSlam, and we're going to find out tonight on SmackDown Live whether this is the thing or not. Now, this is weird. I don't know if you heard the chirping. It's my new phone. It's my Google Pixel phone that I got recently. And I'm supposed to have muted it, but you can still hear these notifications. So what if I do, hey, Google, mute all sounds on my phone. Okay, she says okay, right? She says okay, and it's written right, see, right there, okay, is what she says. It's kind of blurry, but you get the gist of it, right? Right? So I've muted it again. This is the second time I mute it. If it keeps chirping, I'll just let it chirp and we'll pretend that we're in the wilderness. This is a wilderness-themed review or something. Hey, let's just get right down to it, shall we? Let's talk about Monday Night Raw, which started off on, this was on July 23, 2018. Started off with Vincent Kennedy McMahon in the ring, looking dapper and looking very, very sharp, if you ask me. He welcomes Stephanie McMahon and Triple H to the ring for a historic announcement. The historic announcement, unless you're completely unplugged from the internet, wrestling Twitter, everyone was expecting this. And that was the announcement of WWE's very first all-women, exclusive women exclusive pay-per-view event called Evolution. And that's going to be taking place on October 28th. They say it's going to be there's going to be 50 competitors during this match, this pay-per-view, sorry. Kind of expecting them to be tag matches, maybe some battle royals, because 50 people is a lot of people. They say the Raw Women's Championship is going to be defended. The SmackDown Women's Championship is going to be defended. The NXT Women's Championship is going to be defended, and that is a nice touch. But an even nicer touch is that the finals of the Mae Young Classic are going to take place on that show as well. This show's going to be wild. Let's unpack this a little bit let's unpack this announcement before we move on. Let's be honest there. This is a fantastic move by WWE. I am all for this. It really has the potential to be an excellent evening of wrestling, showcasing the women as they should be. And I am really, really happy that they are adding the NXT Women's title, that they're adding a defense of the NXT Women's Championship, plus the finals of the Mae Young Classic in there. Nice touches. It's going to help make this event feel even more special, more encompassing, really a showcase of everything that WWE does for women's wrestling. The mute's not working. What if I do this and then I come down here? See it, I don't understand. We'll just pull all those down. There we go. So it's no more distraction. So it's really, really, it's really cool. It's earned. It's deserved by the women. Triple H's sentiments, I echo them. He between him and Stephanie, his part of the speech was felt much more sincere, much more earnest than Stephanie, who just stuck to talking points. but you could tell that Triple H really does feel what he said. And did he even choke up a little bit when he was saying, that every night you steal the show? You could feel that this was really, really important to him. I was really, really glad. And I echo everything he says. So this is a big deal. And I think it's okay to be just plain happy about this. And I think it's important. And it's important to stay optimistic when new and important creations arrive like this. We can be cynical and be critical of what they do once the event has hit, once we're there, and once we can take a look at exactly what they did. But at the same time, I think it's also fair to, without overtly rejecting the idea of an all-women's pay-per-view and saying, oh, they're going to screw it up and they're going to mess it up. Instead of already hitting that stride, I think it's still fair to be queasy a little bit, to feel a little strange about WWE pulling this in regards to gender equality and how they're pushing it. Let's not forget that they sold their principles of promoting gender equality by setting up a pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia for a cash grab, for a big cash grab. They had no problem setting their views on gender equality aside for that, because there was a lot of money involved. And I think that's a fair criticism, and I think it's fair to keep that in mind. I'm convinced that the women are going to absolutely tear the house down. It's going to be a wild evening, for sure. But I also think it's fair that we that we have a certain level of apprehension, or at least something that just stays in the back of our head, so that we don't entirely forget. This is so that the event doesn't come across as just entirely just whitewashing. Oh yeah, we did the show in the country where women aren't considered equal as men. Sure, fine. But look, we're giving the girls their own pay-per-view, so we're cool now, right? It's cool, but you know, there's certain things about the past that do stick. You can't erase the past. I don't want, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, because I think this is a great event. It's important to just remember that. And remember one thing, right? Criticism usually comes from a place of love. And if I sit here behind this microphone in front of this camera and talk about WWE and how they're not living up, and I've talked about how they're not living up to expectations, and how, this event feels a little weird nonetheless, considering what they did with the Greatest Royal Rumble and so on and so on. It's not from anger, it's not from rage, it's not from frustration. I don't hate WWE. All the opposite. I love wrestling, and I want everyone in wrestling to do well, and I want them to do good. And WWE is the only wrestling company in the world right now that is in a position to do good. So I hold them to a higher standard than I will most other companies, because they are a vector for change, because they have the mainstream attention. They have the money to pull this stuff off. So when I'm talking about doing this, feeling weird about the event because, because of Greatest Royal Rumble and how their views on gender equality were challenged at that point, I'm not hating, and I'm not trying to dig up the past. This comes from a place of love, because I really think WWE can hold itself up to higher standards than this. We'll move on. Did you see Nikki Cross, by the way, during that? She was there. Like technically her first main roster TV appearance. I guess her time in NXT really is done. She was probably, you know, I was reading on Twitter, a lot of people, oh, this is her main roster debut. This is her first appearance. Yes, but like she hasn't been assigned to a brand yet, officially. Although I think we all sort of expect that she's going to end up on SmackDown because she's been on SmackDown live shows. But they were. I think at this stage she was there to represent the NXT women. Yeah, I think that's the thing. She was there to represent the NXT women because the SmackDown women were there as well as the Raw women. That's what I think she was called in for, and it was probably easier for them to get her off of a live show and on to Raw than fly someone in from Full Sail in Florida or more women. It was probably just logistically simpler, and I can appreciate that. But I'm not bothered. This isn't exactly. I mean, it's the first time we see her on main TV, but. And man, anyway, the point is that I'm sure you saw her because she lit up the screen. She was completely starstruck, and it was amazing. I thought she just glowed, took the attention from everyone. That smile, those eyes. She was somewhere between the Nikki Cross character and legit butterflies and excitement. She was in I'm so happy to be here mode. Just as simple as that. And I posted this on Twitter last night. It seems to me it'd be funny. It would have been funny. Like, everyone is up there and Nikki Cross is in the front row, right? And Triple H grabs his mic, starts to say, and he goes, hey, and he points to Nikki Cross and he sees her and he's, what is she doing here? Who let her in the building? You're not supposed to be here. Yeah, get her out, kind of thing. And then that sort of becomes Nikki Cross's like introductory angle. She sneaks into the event. She sneaks into SmackDown and, goes up into the up to Paige. She's in Paige's office, standing around, and Paige's like, who are you? And, she's in the background and she gets kicked out, and they do the same thing on Raw where she involves herself in a match. She walks down to the ring with I don't know, Sasha and Bailey or something like that, and then get her out of here. What is she doing here? I think that'd be hilarious. I really think that would have been a lot of fun. Her introductory storyline being, she thinks she's a member of the roster because she can sneak into the building. It'd fit her really well. Anyway, so that was our opening segment. Bravo. Back from commercial, we have Bo Dallas and Axel Curtis. Curtis Axel. Yeah, it's still coffee time for me. Man, just give me a second here. So Bo and Axel and Curtis are excited for the Evolution pay-per-view, and this is going. All the guys are going to put it over throughout the entire evening as well. But they say, Bo says, but Curtis says we have to stay focused though. Bo says, yeah, then the run we've been on has been a dream. We've always been a team, and if I ever let you down, and Curtis is like, dude, there's no one I would have rather been on this trip than you. B team stands for brothers. And then Bo says, you're the brother I never had. And here, honestly, it was so hard. It was such a hard-on-sleeve situation that I was convinced that they were setting up a loss in this match. 100% sure. I was like, oh, this is going to be the loss is going to tear at our heartstrings. But no, it turns out that their match against that they won. Their match against the Deleters of Worlds, who had invoked the rematch 2 weeks ago. We were kind of wondering how injured Bray Wyatt was still. Would he be able to bump and do stuff? And I'm not worried. I don't think he's injured anymore. The way he tore into Bo, no, he's fine. Bray Wyatt is okay. Matt Hardy at some point is in here. Does the turnbuckle headshots, hits a side effect on Axel. He goes on the middle rope, does an elbow to the back. Twist of fate. Twist of fate on Curtis Axel, but Bo breaks up the pinfall. Then we come to the conclusion where Bo dodges Bray Wyatt, who's coming at him in the corner, and he throws Wyatt, who tumbles over Hardy and Curtis Axel, who are sort of like who are tussling on the ground. They fall on. He falls onto both of those guys and accidentally pushes Matt Hardy into a pinning position, and the B team actually accidentally get the win. Wyatt and Hardy show respect. You know, they do that was wonderful, but no, they attack them immediately after. Not sure where we go from here with the B team, to be honest. It seems to me that every week they keep establishing the fact that the B team are not a legitimate team because every win they get is kind of accidental. It's a fluke, you know, kind of this week. And the fact that they took a beat down after, it doesn't legitimize them at all. And if they're going to keep the belts on them, well, they kind of do need to legitimize the team and have them like actually pin, actually go on a more than a pinning streak, but a winning streak, but a pinning streak where they win decisively, where it's like there's no ambiguity, there's no like miscommunication on the part of the other team, which creates an accidental opportunity for the B team. Because, you know, the Revival is still in this angle. They're still backstage watching the action on the monitors. Does that mean that when the Revival come challenging for the title, does that mean that the Revival are going to prove themselves to be the better team, but ultimately lose because the B team are just lucky? I mean, you're only going to be able to stretch this out so far. I think it's too bad that they're still considered a joke. Finn and Chad Bagel are chatting it up with Chad Bagel. Is that what I said? Finn and Chad Gable. Maybe I'm hungry. Finn and Chad Gable are chatting it up backstage. And then some guy is moving Finn's stuff around, and Finn's like, "Why do you have my jacket?" And the guy says, production hand says, "Well, we've been told Constable Corbin has a new locker room for you. He's giving you your own locker room." "Oh, well, that's really cool." So walks over to show him where his new locker room is, and it's like a little plastic dollhouse, kitty house, you know, and it's decorated. It has stuffed animals and a T-shirt, a Finn Balor T-shirt on it. And Corbin and Ryzen, "Look, this is perfect for someone of your stature." Because we really can't get enough of these short jokes. That's some good writing right there. That's some good writing. Yep. It's funny too. I hate the writing. Finn calls it Finn's Funhouse, and he's okay with it because he's Finn Balor, and he smiles a lot. So that was the end of that segment. Then we have Sasha and Bayley who give a promo backstage together, saying that it's been an emotional and tumultuous week for their relationship. Bayley says, "Since last week, Sasha and I had a really long talk when we realized that it's our differences that make our relationship so strong, and now they're best friends again." Just getting ready. I'm psyching myself up. All right. Oh boy, they sure killed the lesbian angle off real quick, didn't they? Or should I say the lesbian ambiguity, more than the angle. It wasn't an angle. They killed off the lesbian ambiguity really, really quickly. And they crushed it. They killed it and crushed it into fine dust. That's what they did. They're sisters. The commentary said they're sisters. They're best friends. And man, Bailey was really punctuating that, my best friend Sasha. And they're like, we get it. Okay, fine. You're not falling in love. Thank goodness. Look, you know how I feel about this angle by now. If you've been watching my videos, you know that I think it's garbage, that they've been messing it up. And last week I was talking about how I was praying, how I was hoping that they wouldn't do a lesbian angle because they would mismanage it. I have no faith in Raw Creative at all. So even though some people might have seen this as a step forward, it's only a step forward if the step you take carries you somewhere, brings you somewhere. Whereas this would have been just like a step forward and probably 2 steps back, and it would have ended up being garbage. I am extremely thankful that they're putting the kibosh on anything that has to do with Bailey and Sasha being a lesbian. But look, I'm not going to rant all that long this week about the Bailey and Sasha angle. I should do a compilation right now because I every week it irks me and gets my blood pumping, raises my blood pressure, puts years on my life. I might be exaggerating slightly, but still, when you decide to establish a long storyline like they have with these two, the story has to grow and change. The characters have to grow and change. This is not the case here, and it hasn't been the case at all. Because WWE might be lying to itself and saying, well, we've told this part of the story, and now, okay, well, they've reconciled. Now the next part of the story, and now the next part of the story, there's moments in time where you can say, well, this is what was happening, this is what was happening. They're telling the same story, the same chapter of the story over and over and over again. It's a rehash every time. Every time they start telling the Bailey and Sasha story, we come back to Bailey and Sasha not getting along with each other. Then things happen. Then, they're friends again. It's always the same thing. And they don't grow. The characters don't grow because they always come back to the exact same spot that they were when they started. At some point here, you'd be like, look, there should still be tension here, even though they've admitted to themselves that they're really good friends and they love each other and that their differences was what make them strong. There still has to be tension here at some point with everything that happened. When Bailey attacked Sasha and said and told, when she beat her up on that edition of Raw and told her at the end, you ain't shit. The crowd reaction was amazing. Why didn't they go with it? Why didn't they just carry on that momentum? They ignited something that the audience was clearly behind and instead neutered it with the stupid counseling angle. And now they pivoted the entire angle back to start. Same chapter, it's a reset. It's always the same type of story that they're telling with Bailey and Sasha. It's over and over. Why doesn't one of them turn heel? Why doesn't one of them turn heel? Raw needs big heels in the women's division. Who are the big heels in the women's division right now? Like the top ones. Alexa. They were starting to build Ruby Riott. That's pretty much it. Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan are secondary. They're not big heels. But you've got more big baby faces on Raw than you do heels. Ember Moon, Natalya, Sasha, Bayley. And these are 4 women who can go. And the only credible threats to all 4 of these women on the other side are Ruby Riott and Alexa, and Ruby's injured. So who do you put in that spot? You could you could decide to elevate Mickey if they really wanted to do it. I don't think they will. I don't think that's her role either. I don't think that's what she's needed for at this stage of the game. Anyway. That's as far as I'm going to go with Sasha and Bayley this week. Because I'm sure that there'll be more to talk about next week and in the weeks to come. This leads into Sasha and Bayley facing some jabronis. Listen, it's a squash match. That's fine. Establishing Bayley and Sasha as a team, as friends, that's fine. I like the finish where Bayley knees one of the jobbers to the face, and then that allows Sasha to lock in the bank statement. I think that's a cool way to finish the match. If they do decide to become a team. By the way, the rumors about the women's tag team belts, tag team titles, were nowhere to be found. The rumors were there, but the belts were nowhere to be found. They didn't do the announcement, and I think it might still come. From what I've heard and read, the belts are made. The belts were commissioned and they're done. They exist. So maybe they'll just go ahead and pull the trigger at some point. I think it was a good idea not to pack all of that into this one announcement. I think it's a good idea to announce the match, announce that the championships will be defended, and the Mae Young Classic Finals will take place there, and coast on that for the week. And then you come back maybe next week or the week after, and you add, you sprinkle a little more magic on top of it, or whenever, in a couple of weeks. Whenever you want to just reignite discussion. Oh, by the way, we're going to have a tournament. And that'd be fantastic. And my phone hasn't properly muted. I don't understand. I'm going to have to call support. Oh, by the way, during the match, Sasha and Bayley, during their match, at some point, as they were setting up the finish of the match, Coach started saying something about he started saying something, and Corey Graves, I think, just saved him from saying something incredibly stupid. I think he was about to shoot himself in the foot. He started saying something like, and I will listen to the replay just to make sure. He says, when 2 women say they love each other, and Corey Graves just dives in, is like, no, coach, you don't want to go there, blah, 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 blah. And it just becomes a cacophony of stuff happening. Corey Graves probably just saved Jonathan Coachman's job, because he was going into some very slippy territory right now. Anyway, I'm glad that it didn't happen, but it just, again, goes to show how clueless Coachman and Jonathan Coachman owes a year of tattoos to Corey Graves. We're back from commercial, and with that, I forgot to mention we have Elias, right, who's at the top of the stage, and all evening he's trying to plug his album. He's trying to play a song, but there's always an entrance that interrupts him, right? So he's up on the stage again, and he tries to do this thing, and Braun Strowman comes out, interrupts him, and goes into the ring, cuts a promo, says the WWE Universe is talking about 2 things tonight: the all women's pay-per-view, and he congratulates all the women, especially my mixed my mixed match challenge tag team partner Alexa Bliss, which I still think is, I think it's great that they're just hinting at it, that it's canon, but that's it. You know, like we're not going any deeper in this, just reminding us of what happened. I think it's a nice touch, just a little sprinkle of something. So everyone's talking about that and the commotion between Reigns and Lashley, and it doesn't matter who wins. There's a monster that's going to come calling because I have money in the bank. And then Kevin Owens comes out. And Kevin Owens has a mic. He's at the top of the ramp. He says, "Look, after what you did to me, you callous son of a... You think you can come out here and talk about stuff as if what you did to me never happened? No!" And he's mad. And he goes on, he's mad that he's being shortchanged in this situation. And then Kevin Owens does what he does best. He pulls a heel promo where he has legitimate gripes. He says, "You know, when I tried to befriend you, I did it out of the kindness of my heart. I did it because my 10-year-old son saw you with that Nicholas kid and was like, you know, maybe Dad, you know, you could be friends with Braun Strowman too, you know. But you, Braun, you destroyed all of that. You crushed his dreams just like you crushed my spine, throwing me off that cage. And my kids," and this is perfect. He says, my kids used to think I was unbreakable. My son, my little girl, they're scared now to look at me because they see the pain on my face. This is all because of you. You tried to take everything away from me, and I'm going to try and take everything away from you." And this is what Kevin Owens excels at. He creates these arguments based on very tangible facts that you're like, yeah, you know what? He's kind of right. He's not entirely wrong. You know, like I've said it before, there's nothing better than a heel who's right. A heel who has a point. And Kevin Owens has nothing but good points in this situation. And how real and gritty this became. Where he started talking about his family, about his kids, seeing him in pain. You know, thinking Daddy was this invincible guy. And you're like, it's so friggin' relatable and down to earth. You know, it's not like for these weird stakes that wrestlers usually fight for. No, he's coming out here and saying, "Braun Strowman, you almost took everything away from me, and my kids don't look at me the same way." Of course, being Kevin Owens, you can argue that, you know, maybe he's buttering it up a little bit. Maybe it's not as bad as he says it is, you know. Of course, he's a heel. But that was so good. So that brings out Constable Baron Corbin, because Braun basically, not Braun, but Kevin says, I'm going to start adding, I'm going to make your life hell, basically. I'm going to take everything away from you. And he's in cahoots with, I love that word, cahoots. He's in cahoots with Baron Corbin, Constable Baron Corbin, Stephanie McMahon's personally appointed Constable of Raw, Baron Corbin. He comes out and he says, Braun, what you did in the confines of the match was legal but morally reprehensible. So we need to get someone to help you control your temper. And they send out Jinder Mahal to do some respiration, some breathing exercises with Braun. Former WWE champion who held the title for 6 consecutive months, Jinder Mahal, comes out to do breathing exercises with Braun Strowman. Basically, Braun then turns the chant around and he gets everyone to close their eyes and gets the audience to chant, get these hands instead of Shanti, and he just beats up both Sunil Singh and Jinder. He grabs Sunil Singh and power slams him. I wish Michael Cole would stop calling it a running powerbomb, because Braun does not run with his powerbomb. It's not a running powerbomb. He walks. He gives himself some momentum, but not power bomb, power slam. It's not. See, I'm so mad right now. I can't even properly get my wrestling moves myself. Braun, what he does, sometimes he runs, but most of the time he does not. It's not a running power slam that he does, and he has to stop calling it a running power slam. It looks so stupid when he does. Anyway, I don't know if this is how you start making Braun Strowman's life a living hell by setting out Jinder Mahal, former WWE champion Jinder Mahal, to do breathing exercises with him. I don't see it. It was an okay segment that was elevated to great because of Kevin Owens' promo, but otherwise it just sort of happened and was there. So $10 says we're getting Jinder Mahal versus Braun Strowman next week. And let's not forget, let's point this out. Let's keep in mind the Shanti gimmick thing. That's what Jinder used to do when he was a jobber. That's exactly what he used to do. Just keep that in mind, folks. Next we have Mickie James versus Natalya. Mickie James wearing a Super Saiyan costume, which I thought was, her ring gear was great. It was an okay match. It was there, but it was very solid, very excellently executed by two of the roster's most experienced wrestlers, two extraordinary workers in Natalya and Mickie James. Natalya hits at some point a really nice Russian leg sweep, which we're seeing more and more of. It seems to me like there was a time where the Russian leg sweep was nowhere. And I feel like over the past few months, we've been seeing it more and more. I've been seeing it more and more. Or maybe I've just been noticing more and more. It does a Russian leg sweep. She does a nice snap suplex as well. Electric chair drop on Mickie. But there's Alexa Bliss runs interference at the end, and Mickie gets the Mick kick for the pin. It was good, though. Natalya looking very, very strong. Fine match. Nothing to write home about. Too short. That was okay. You got a Roman Reigns promo backstage. Tonight's the first time that I beat Bobby Lashley, is what he says. I'm the most decorated superstar of this generation. You can boo. You can say Roman Reigns is being rammed down our throats. You're going to learn to like it or close your mouth. Oh, why don't they just make him a full-blown heel at this point? Like, really? Honestly. Why? I don't understand why they just don't make him a full-blown heel when he says this kind of stuff. I don't get it. Elias is up on stage again, gets interrupted by the Authors of Pain in the worst segment of the night. This was a bad segment, because this was miscasting, misaligned, misinformed, misuse, mystery, Mephistopheles. The Authors of Pain have a microphone in their hands. Right then and there is a bad move. They say, they basically say, give us competition. We want competition. We want to fight someone except for Titus Worldwide. We're done with those guys. That brings out Titus Worldwide. And Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil, they have microphone, and they start talking about, we're just trying to help you guys. Titus has been here for 10 years. He's been seen all sorts of talent. He's been helping guys, and then they start talking. Apollo Crews starts talking about, since, maybe you should think about letting us help you guys. Since I've joined, we've been doing work in the community. We've been giving back. We've been involved in all these great charities and so on and so forth. Look at Rizar and Ekam in the ring. Look at the Authors of Pain. Tell me if they give two shits about being pillars of the community. There's too much of a dissonance, because this was a terrible pitch for the Authors of Pain, and it gathered no heat or no reaction, because everyone with half a brain is looking at this and listening to Apollo Crews talk about doing good work in the community. Hey, Authors of Pain, you should do that too. We're all looking at it and they're like, man, the Authors of Pain just want to beat the shit out of people. Why are you trying to get them to go do community work? That's not what they're for. That's not their job. That's not what they're there for. And on top of that, that's not what we want them to do. And then this turns into a brawl where Titus Worldwide attack the Authors of Pain, and the Authors of Pain get thrown out of the ring. Titus Worldwide stands tall. Listen, guys, if you want, two things. First and foremost, Authors of Pain need a mouthpiece. All right? From what I understand, Paul Ellering didn't accompany them to Maine because he doesn't want the travel schedule anymore, and I understand. He's done his time. He's done the schedule. He was fine at Full Sail because he could just stay there, but he doesn't want the travel schedule anymore. And I can understand that. I respect that at this point in his career. So give them another mouthpiece. Give them anyone who could talk. Just put them with someone who can talk for them and use them as muscle. As oh my God. At this stage, or at least if they had been booked like the Authors of Pain should be booked, we should be having the same reaction seeing these guys as when we see Braun Strowman. It's oh man, shit's about to go down. That's how we should be reacting. But now it's it's the Authors of Pain. And it's middling. And they started getting some momentum. The squash matches, the wins against Titus Worldwide. Now they let Titus Worldwide get one on top of them. I don't mind tag teams getting one on top of another, getting one over another tag team. I'm okay with that. That's not a problem when it's booked well, when it's done well. This isn't the case here, because the main problem is that in the perception of in the perception of the fan in general, Titus Worldwide is a jobber team. They're jobbers. They're jabronis. They lose. They're a joke. They're not serious contenders. If they're taking out Authors of Pain, that doesn't help Authors of Pain. And it's not going to help Titus Worldwide ultimately, because the next time they fight, they're probably going to lose again. It's really strange booking. It was a bad segment because it didn't make sense, because it exposes the weaknesses of Authors of Pain, weaknesses that can be easily covered up. But Vince McMahon has something against managers nowadays. He doesn't like managers. It's too wrestling, I guess. There's no managers in WWE anymore. You have valets, you have the advocate, and you have wrestlers accompanying other wrestlers, but there's no real honest to goodness managers anymore. And honestly, in the case of Authors of Pain, who are two extremely talented in-ring performers, who work really, really hard, and who are extremely credible in the ring. Considering all of that, and considering that their only weakness is their mic skills, just grab someone and have them talk. Use Kurt Hawkins. Maybe Kurt Hawkins is done with losing and he's like, look, okay, I'm going to recycle myself and I'm going to wouldn't this be a great idea? Listen. Give me a second here for some fantasy booking that will never happen in a million years, but still it's fun to think of. Get Kurt Hawkins at some point. He's losing. He can't get a break. He's not winning. He's sick of losing, right? So he's like, okay, fine. No more wrestling. I'm going to manage. I'm going to manage some wrestlers. So am I going to manage? We'll see. But whoever I will manage will go back and win back every one of my losses. Every one of my 200 some losses. They're going to win them back for me. Again, it's a built-in story. And who are these two monsters? And who is he going to manage? The Authors of Pain, man. And then Hawkins could have a list of people, who's next, who beat me, And he's been creamed by a lot of people. A lot of people who aren't there anymore, but if you focus on those who are still in WWE, you could have some high-level guys getting involved here. It could be a really fun angle, and would give another layer to Kurt Hawkins' character, and get him out of the losing streak thing. Anyway, but that'll never happen. Anyway, it was a terrible segment. Backstage, Kurt is talking with Stephanie about the pay-per-view Evolution. Right. By the way, I didn't mention this. Evolution. Not too keen on the name. It's very generic. At least they didn't call it like Revolution or something. So Kevin Owens interrupts this discussion. He says, I want to face Braun again under one condition. If he loses his match, I win the Money in the Bank contract. Kurt Angle says, I'm not sure that's a good idea. But Stephanie McMahon says, I love this idea. Let's make this happen. This is good. I like this. And I like the idea of the briefcase being defended like it really is a title. And it makes it feel special too. It feels good. Like the person who wins the contract for the G1 in New Japan, if I'm not mistaken, that can be defended, right? Like I think you can wrestle for the title opportunity at Wrestle Kingdom, because that's what you win. It's the same thing here. I like this. This was a good idea. And Kevin specified no matter how he loses, pinfall, submission, countout, DQ, I win the title. I get Money in the Bank. I think this is great. First of all, I'm all for more Kevin Owens and Braun. They work really well together. Kevin is able to play off all of Braun's strengths and make him look good. And Braun just is able, since Kevin is literally fearless, Braun just does whatever he wants with him. That's fantastic. They work so well together. So this is set up for SummerSlam, which is cool. Now, is Braun going to lose at SummerSlam? Well, let's see how the next few weeks go. We're not in prediction season yet. Not quite yet. Let's see how things transpire. But I'll tell you one thing. My Money in the Bank prediction for the Money in the Bank ladder match, men's Money in the Bank ladder match winner prediction. The prediction that I had for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match was Samoa Joe. But my very close second choice was Kevin Owens. I thought both of them were in a position to benefit most from winning from winning the title. Not the title, the briefcase. So at this point, if Kevin wins, because Braun doesn't need it. Braun doesn't need the briefcase. He's Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman doesn't need the briefcase to challenge for the Universal title. He should just be able to do it. And if, in my sincere opinion, in my sincere opinion, Braun Strowman should have challenged Brock the Monday night right after Money in the Bank. It should have been that simple. Because that's what Braun's character is. Braun is impulsive. He's like in the now. He's instinctive. You know, he's basically a big child. Okay, I got something. To get something, I want it. I want it now. Boom. And then Kurt could have come out and said, well, Brock's not here. Boo. So you have to challenge him on another. I challenge him at SummerSlam. Something like that. You know. That could have been absolutely perfect. The fact that Braun still has the briefcase doesn't work, and it doesn't make sense in his character. He didn't need it. And I love Braun. It's not au contraire. It's far from being a knock on Braun. I'm saying Braun is good enough and interesting and compelling enough to not need the artifice of a Money in the Bank briefcase. He doesn't need that to elevate himself or to put him in a credible position. That's all I'm saying. Tyler Breeze asked a rematch against Mojo Rawley. God knows why. Match ends when... I'm just going to go through this really quickly if that's all right. Match ends when Mojo catches Tyler Breeze midair and hits a sit-down version of his Alabama Slam finisher. I hope Tyler Breeze... Actually, I hope Mojo, after the match, went backstage and thanked Tyler Breeze for making his offense look so good. Because Breeze really sold the hell out of that. We get a Dolph and Drew iPhone promo. Dolph saying they had a sophisticated plan when coming back. Now there's a glitch in the plan, says Drew. Drew's not in contention for the Universal title, and he blames Finn for that because Finn took the pin in their triple threat last week. Now he's going to pay tonight in their match, and that's what it leads into. Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. Finn's bruise on his right arm really looks nasty. Yeah, it looks really, really nasty. This was a fun match. Drew overpowers Finn at first. Drew runs the ropes, but Finn drop kicks him really quickly, which sends Drew out onto the floor, which Finn follows with a great Tope con Hilo. It was really, really pretty. Back from commercial, Drew is working over Finn's arm. He tosses Finn into a corner. He suplexes Finn while Finn is on his friggin' knees. That was something and a half. And Finn also at some point hits a beautiful spinning DDT. And it's the kind of thing that we don't see enough in WWE these days. This was exciting. It was good. Dolph is outside as well during the course of this match. Finn at some point goes up to the top rope for the coup de grace. And Dolph crotches him on the top rope. This forces the DQ. Both guys beat up on Finn, but Seth Rollins comes in for the save, and Kurt Angle comes out. Playa, holla, holla. This is turned into a tag team match. It's funny, right? That I think it's funny that oh goodness, that's what we think about. You know, when things get transformed into tag team matches, holla holla. That's all we think of. this was completely pointless to the overall commentary of this review. Kurt comes out. That's it. He restarts the match, and everyone goes at each other. I find that Seth has a special amount of fire tonight. And man, he's still over with the audience despite the odd booking that he's being put through over the past few. He's still really, really good. Just going through my notes here. I don't want to necessarily want to walk through everything. There's a lot of back and forth. At some point, the Finn tries to get the hot tag on Seth. That's pretty much the story of the second part of the match. And he tries to get the hot tag in, but Dolph and Dolph and Drew just are unable to keep Finn from getting the tag. I'll get there. Big Pele kick by Balor right in Dolph's face at some point as both guys try to reach their corners. Dolph makes it, but Drew once again keeps Finn from the hot tag. Finn quickly battles back and hits Drew. Tags in Seth, who get to a big reaction. Seth with a dive on both Dolph and Drew to the outside. Flying clothesline in the ring on Drew. Hits his blockbuster. Does his burn it down. Gets the kick to the gut. Can't do the stomp because Dolph interferes. Seth goes for another kick and goes for the pin, but Dolph breaks it up. Sling blade by Balor. Super kick by Dolph. Huge slam by Drew on Seth. Gets the pin for 2. Drew puts Seth in an electric chair. Dolph goes to the top rope, but Rollins punches Dolph off the top rope. Hurricane Rana on Drew, which sends him outside. Hits the stomp on Dolph. And that is how the match is won by your friends and mine, Finn Balor and Dolph Ziggler. Backstage, we have Bobby Lashley, who says that Roman has failed all other opportunities and he's going to fail again tonight. And he ends his promo by quoting the Beastie Boys, saying that there's no sleep till Brooklyn. Ember Moon versus Liv Morgan again. Sarah Logan, for some reason, has been barred from ringside. I don't know if that's it, or if she was off raiding the fjords with her Viking brethren. There's some good offense in this match. Nonetheless, continues to be a showcase of Ember Moon's talent. Liv still looks good. She's looking better and better every week, but clearly here continuing to put Ember Moon over. She does Liv at some point does a crossbody on Ember Moon to get the upper hand. She ties her up in the rope. Ember Moon does a nice reverse STO. She goes up top. Liv crotches her on the top rope. She climbs up after her, but Ember flapjacks her off the top rope, hits the Eclipse, and we have a win. Seth is backstage, says he had a meeting with Kurt, set a match for SummerSlam. What's the match, Seth? Oh, it's Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler for the IC title. Well, there you go. So already the SummerSlang. I speak fluent SummerSlang. I know all the jive words that the hip cats use. The SummerSlam card is coming together very nicely. Main event: Roman Reigns versus Robert Lashley. They do a long recap. Such a long recap, though, at first. Oh, man. And Elias is still up there. And he waits, and then he starts playing. And the minute he starts playing, Kurt Angle's music interrupts him. And Kurt Angle comes out to say, "You're not going to get interrupted anymore, Elias." That was cute. You're not going to get interrupted anymore. Go right ahead. The floor is yours. And he actually does his song. And at some point he has the best line. Elias has the absolute best line when he says, my album is out today. You should buy 2 copies. One for yourself and one for the person you will become after listening to my album. Oh, that was so perfectly Elias and so good. That was so good. So he starts his song, but he interrupts himself and he says, "Look, I'm not feeling the vibe. What city are we in again? Cincinnati. Oh, okay, that explains it. There you go." So it ends up with Elias getting his typical heat. Then we move on to the main event. This was a good match, again, from these two guys who work really, really hard. I think I even liked it more than their Extreme Rules match. I think they worked a little stronger, a little better here. Lashley at some point hits a huge spine buster on Roman Reigns. They trade punches. Lashley does a couple of leapfrogs during this match. He hits a nice overhead suplex. Reigns has him in a fireman's carry to try and dump him out of the ring. Instead, Lashley falls on the apron. Roman runs the ropes and hits but Lashley hits a big lariat on Roman from the apron, from outside and in the ring. That was impressive. There's lots of Superman punches. There's a full Nelson. Actually, Roman goes for a Superman punch that Lashley counters into a full Nelson. Roman tries to fight out, and he tries to fight out of sort of a modified triangle, is what Corey called it. I don't know. But Reigns reverses it into a pinfall, and Lashley has to release. At some point, Lashley goes to the outside as well. Roman drives him into the post. He has to go outside, rolls to the outside, and I think this is where Coach starts talking about, well, he probably rolled out by accident. I mean, there's no way that he could have. And Corey Graves and Michael Cole are both like, what the hell are you talking about, man? This is an elite athlete. This guy has ring awareness. He's been doing this for years. Of course he knows what he's doing. Why is his commentary so terrible sometimes, he's like burying the talent. I don't understand that. Or he's just simply saying, Bobby Lashley just simply rolled out of the way out of pure chance. No, it's strategic. And Corey Graves is like, what the hell are you talking about, Coach? This is the part where they fight a bit outside, and then Lashley throws Roman back into the ring, and Roman's head sort of hits the bottom rope, and he lands in the ring right on his head. Right on his head. And that did not look good. I was like, for a second, I was scared. Hopefully he's okay. Because that was kind of ugly. So basically, Roman hits a Superman punch. And Lashley kicks out. Lashley then hits a spear on Roman, but only gets 2 for it. Roman goes for another Superman punch. Then he sets himself up for the spear. Lashley counters the spear with a kick. Roman bounces off the rope but hits another spear and gets the pin. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are getting Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, a match that not many people are looking forward to. And I think Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful.com encapsulated my feelings best. And I'm going to read verbatim what he wrote on Twitter. Outstanding match, regarding the match that Lashley and Roman's had. And absolutely true. Outstanding match. 50-50 booking that sets up a match that few were clamoring for. Here's hoping that after a year and a half, we can finally move on. God, I hope so. You know, again, my prediction, what I was hoping for was that somehow this match would end in a non-finish, and that next week we'd have to set up a triple threat. Because here's what I'm not quite... a triple threat for SummerSlam. I'll finish my idea here and get into my other one. Let's set up a triple threat at SummerSlam. Lashley, Reigns, and Brock for the Universal title. My logic behind this was that obviously Brock has to be careful going into UFC, going into his UFC match, which will be sometime early in 2019 probably. He has to be careful not to get hurt. So he can't really work a match. So by doing a triple threat match, it takes a lot of the load off of Brock, allows him to stay healthy, right? And adds a little drama actually to the match. Because you know what's going to happen. We all know the audience is already the audience in Brooklyn is already preparing their list of chants for the match. They're already listing, okay, well, which obscure wrestler can we chant for during this match? This is already it's already ruined. This main event is ruined in advance. We know what's going to happen. No one really wants this match. So it's weird because it's weird that they're going with a one-on-one match, because I don't understand why. I don't see how Brock can work a full match. Which probably means he's going to play it really, really safe, which probably means it's not going to be all that exciting. But I'm getting ahead of myself, aren't I? And if Brock is going to be Brock absentee Brock, I should say. If Brock is going to be absentee Brock over the next few weeks leading into SummerSlam, that means Roman Reigns is going to carry this feud alone. He's going to carry the feud absolutely by himself. You know, John Cena was able to carry the Undertaker feud by himself because he's John Cena. And John Cena can work a microphone and control an audience like not many people can. This isn't the case with Roman Reigns. This was another reason why I thought the triple threat idea was a good idea, because at least Lashley and Reigns could carry the feud if Brock isn't scheduled to make any more appearances. Now, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, and maybe Brock is going to be on every Raw leading up to SummerSlam. Maybe. It's just really fascinating that they're going with this again. Ryan Satin from Pro Wrestling Sheet tweeted last night that quote, which is often attributed to Einstein, but really there's no real proof that Einstein ever said it, but that's not the point. The quote saying, "Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results." I don't know what they're expecting from this match, other than finally putting the strap on Roman, because this match is going to be a shit show. You know what's not a shit show? My G1 recap show that I do on FightfulSelect.com. That's a lot of fun, and I'm doing it on Thursday, this coming Thursday. Again, it's for FightfulSelect.com for subscribers only. I don't know what, if you're sitting there not subscribed, I'm wondering, I'm thinking to myself, why aren't you? You get a whole bunch of fantastic content. Go to FightfulSelect.com to see what you get. Because on top of all the content that you get there, you also get my recaps, but you also get my weekly 205 Live NXT combination recap show. I do that every week, and I do them live. I do the G1 recap show live. I do the 205 Live NXT show live. So you can, if you're a member, you can jump right into the video, to the YouTubes, see me do the video thing, and chat, and we can talk, and it's fun. G1, that, I've got that coming up this week. So join me tomorrow right here on my YouTube channel, tinyurl/Mr. Warren Hayes. You can watch my SmackDown Live review. I'm really excited to see what they're going to be doing tonight. Folks, thank you so much for joining me again today, and I'll see you next time.